Hello everyone, it's Colby, and in this video I am joined by my buddy Philip.
Hi.
We're going to go over all of the Sorcerer Subclasses today. If you haven't seen our other rankings of all the other subclasses, there's over 120 subclasses in 5e right now. As of this video, we have ranked them all, so make sure to look in the top right to check out that playlist. Excited to make some new content for you guys starting next week. And moving on from the subclass rankings, but it's been a lot of fun. So check out those videos. Some of the early ones are a little bit rough audio-wise. I've learned a lot over the past few months, and I appreciate everyone's support throughout this time. So getting into the rankings, the way we're ranking these is very subjective. It basically is like, if we were going to play this class, which subclasses would we want to play today? So there's some that are just absolutely amazing, some that are absolute garbage, but something to keep in mind, you know, with all things D&D is you can have fun with every single subclass. Even if they're kind of mechanically broken, D&D is an amazing game, very versatile, and a lot of options. You can fail amazing. So without further ado, let's get into the first subclass. Oh, and like and subscribe. It actually helps out a lot. Thanks. Aberrant Mind. How do you feel about it, Philip?
I like it. I like that it is kind of Cthulhu-ish, or Mind Flayer. I like that. The spell list, I like all of them. Mind Sliver is one of my favorite first level spells, or cantrip. Sorry, I just really like it. I like that you can deal psychic damage. Oh, and you subtract from their next saving throw. Oh, as a sorcerer, that's amazing, because you can make cantrips into bonus action.
Yeah, the spell list is pretty good. Telepathic speech is
very
nice,
very useful.
Yes, I would like to see a little bit, like, just an extra thing for first level, like something combat based, but you know I'm all horny for combat modifications for subclasses. I still recognize how effective and how useful telepathic speech is, just being able to communicate with someone telepathically.
It's so nice being able to just talk to your party without NPCs knowing, so you don't have to worry about that kind of thing. So useful.
Yeah. Or if like your party member is like on the other side of town, you need to coordinate something. Like communication's always been kind of an issue in D&D, where like, okay, well, how are you going to signal to your friend to do it? And like, you know, how well do you guys signal? There's all that kind of complications. This just makes it super simple. It's kind of like the Avengers, where they have that little chip in their ear or whatever. They always have it. No one really knows how they're all synced up on the same frequency or how they're talking to each other, but it just works. Don't complain. Psionic sorcery.
I like it. I like that it's tied to your spell list, your spin a spell list. I like that.
Yes.
It gives you incentive to use them, and they are good spells. They're not damage spells. Like, this isn't a damage subclass. So that probably hurts it for you, because like none of its abilities are to do with damage.
Well, it depends, because like I'm playing a bard right now that I really like, and it's all about kind of like holding people and modifying them. I like that kind of battlefield mechanics, but yeah, using spells outside of combat I don't like as much.
Yeah, you're not so much a utility caster. And this,
yeah, fair enough.
Like, calm emotion can be useful in a fight, but yeah, like sending.
Yeah.
Being able to use sorcery points instead of spell slot for sending, so then if you get into a fight, you still have all your third level spell slot. Very useful, because you can get rid of first level spell slots to get more sorcery. You know, it just everything about this class is just like useful, and the level 14 one is the big one, but it's at level 14, so you know, it's level 14. pretty late in the game.
Yeah.
You're at that
It
point
is.
you're
I
at
do
pretty
like
high
it.
level spell casting, just in general.
Yeah, that's true. And Warping Implosion, I think, is pretty. To be honest, it's basically like it is an action, but you can teleport within 120 feet of you, so you can probably get away from any situation that you're in, and dealing some damage and messing them up a little bit as they pull, as you pull them towards the spot that you teleported away from. So just really helpful. I don't think it's necessarily worth it at 18th level, but we don't put that much weight into 18th.
If it's at 18th level, it should be tied to proficiency, not once or spend 5 sorcery points to use it again. It's a teleportation spell with a little bit of damage. Like it's a slightly worse Thunder Step, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, or a bonus action would be cool. That'd be a good modification for an 18th level sorcerer. Be very powerful.
It is useful though, and I mean you get 9th level spells, and the big thing about sorcerer is the meta magic, and these don't mess with your meta magic. You know, like the Revelation and Flesh at 14th level. You can use a sorcery point to transform yourself. Useful. Being able to use a sorcery point and get the effects of sea invisibility, or flying speed, or swim speed. You know, that's super useful, because one sorcery point isn't super useful for you. Usually you need 2 or more to actually get what you need. So if you have 1 left over to be able to suddenly you can fly, well, the best. Because 1 sorcery point is roughly equal to a cantrip. Getting the fly spell for a cantrip? Oh. That's amazing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Good.
So what did you put it as?
I put it as B.
Okay, I also put it as B, and I like it mechanically, but I think I don't like the Cthulhu theme of it as much. Like, it would probably be an A if I liked that kind of theme more, but for me, pretty solid B.
It's a lot like what I've had to do with some other classes where I kind of had to, like, shift everything. It's like, if there's some that are much higher, like, I really, really want to play this one, and sure, I want to play the others, but it's not nearly as much, then everything else gets bumped down or up. If it's the other way, where I really, really don't like one.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
This is solid mid.
Let's throw it in the mid. It's a pretty solid subclass for sure. And move on to, I think, my only S. Clockwork Soul. Yeah, my only S. This
Easy
is
S.
an amazing subclass.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
The only thing I wish that was better for it is that if there were more kind of clockwork-based spells. But, you know, we've talked about, Philip and I have talked about kind of doing some homebrew ones. You were able to homebrew or, like, get... Where did you get those clock-based spells?
At my local game store.
Right, so he was able to buy some homebrew stuff. Do you remember the name of it so we can shout it out?
The store?
Not the store, but the... What is the name of the cards and the spells?
Man, I don't know. They're over there.
Okay.
I think it's Deep Magic.
Okay. Maybe Deep Magic, maybe Dragon's Den. Well, actually, that's the name of the store. Okay. Clarified.
Great store, though.
Let's...
If you live in Saskatoon, hit it up.
There you go. Let's see how much of our audience lives in Saskatoon. Anyways, yeah, the best one is the Clockwork Soul is an easy S. I'm not a big fan of the spell list, which is probably not a surprise because a lot of them aren't necessarily combat, or at least not kind of my favorite combat types.
Most of them are.
I do like Wall of Force. That's probably one of my favorite spells in the whole game. But
Summon Construct is good.
Yeah, Summon Construct is cool. Protection from evil and good
All of
come in
these,
handy.
all of these are useful. Just most of them not in a fight.
Yeah. And manifestations of order where you kind of have that little spin of role play
Yeah.
when you like cast any of your sorcery spells. It's just cool. Like I would love spectral cogwheels to like hover behind me as I'm casting spells.
I like your spell casting focus temporarily takes the form of a tiny clockwork mechanism.
Yeah, that's cool.
Say you're casting with a rod, and you cast, and it's just like this cool clockwork thing that shoots the spell out. That's so cool. I want to multi-class a Clockwork Soul with Artificer as a Warforged.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
And getting into the first level feature, Restore Balance, is awesome. So, yeah, when a creature you see within 6 feet of you rolls a d20 with advantage or disadvantage, you can just use reaction to make it a straight roll, which is just awesome for first level. 60 feet, you can use it on enemies, allies, and use it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. So you can do it quite a bit.
So
it's just great.
Helpful. I think I would only use it to get rid of disadvantage on my friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Save
because,
it.
Like, I don't really know when enemies have advantage. I don't know if I've ever heard the DM say that he's rolling with advantage.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I don't know why.
But
yeah. I don't know if you would really know, like, your character. Like, maybe because you're Clockwork.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, it is a game. Like,
yeah.
With this kind of thing, like, you gotta think of it like a game, not a, oh, would my character know he has advantage? It's a game still.
Yeah.
You know, and you might know, like, if they have advantage from flanking, you know, they're about to stab your friend in the back, just make it so they're, like, not as good at it.
So, Bastion of Law is also pretty good. I like it. It's essentially putting a shield on someone with temporary hit points, I think. Not actually temporary hit points, but word is represented by...
It's sort of temporary.
Yeah.
You know, you reduce damage taken. It's essentially the same thing as temp hit.
Yeah, so that's pretty nice. Trance of Order is awesome as well. You can just enter a state and all attack rolls against you can't benefit from advantage. Whenever you make an attack roll, ability check, or a saving throw, you treat a roll of 9 or lower on the d20 as a 10. That is so powerful.
It's so useful. Say goodbye to losing concentration.
Yeah, or like a lot of things like this is just useful in so many situations.
It's so good. And it's a bonus action, so you can do it and then cast a spell.
Yeah, it lasts a minute. You can't use it until you finish a long rest, or you can spend 5 sorcery points, but it's so worth it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Then 18th level, summon spirits of order to expunge disorder around you. In action, you summon spirits in a 30-foot cube around you, and they look like constructs of your choice, which is cool, or modrons. And they're intangible and invulnerable. Useful. They restore up to 100 hit points.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
Good.
The bit of roleplay there with like repairing damaged objects, and then, you know, just removes any spells as well that were like cast on your friends.
Not only spells as well. Every spell 6th level or lower.
Yeah.
That's most spells.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and sure, it's 18th level. Who's playing at that level? But if you do, this is one of those late game abilities that actually actually matters. Most late game abilities, it's kind of like, oh, cool. Like, some paladins get resistance to stuff. You know, useful, but it's not cool. This is cool.
Yeah, every bit of it is cool. It kind of goes into the theme of being a Clockwork Sorcerer, and it's such an easy S for both of us. I'm glad you put it as an S. I wasn't sure.
I'd be a lunatic not to. It's so good in every way. Every single thing on this subclass is a banger, except the spell list, but only because 5e doesn't really have a lot of good clockwork type spells. It's the only reason.
Which it definitely needs to add some. Nine Soul. How do you feel about it?
I like it.
I like it too. I don't remember how much I like it.
I like all of them.
I put.
Like, let's be honest, I like all of them. I'm the Sorcerer Supreme of
Oh
the
yeah,
group.
you love Sorcerer. I put it as an A. I might like it more than you like it.
No, I had it an A.
Oh, okay. Sweet. We agree.
Yeah, I'm playing one right now.
Yeah, I really like it. I like the idea of it. Like, it kind of reminds me. Did you ever read like Percy Jackson, like being like just kind of like a demigod? Like
I did not read Percy Jackson, but I watched the totally S tier movies.
No, don't bring up those.
They were so fun though.
I'm gonna curse the video. Yeah. So I like the idea of like a demigod sorcerer.
I also like that you can choose which affinity. It's not just like, oh, you're a divine soul, you get guiding bolt. Woo! Like, you get to pick.
Yeah.
I like that.
You get to pick. You also get a spell that is kind of based around your alignment as well. That's a good amount of versatility. If that made a joke about that in the previous video, make sure to check out the Druid Subclass video. Shameless plug. I do wish there was a spell list, to be honest, an expanded spell list, but this is still a pretty great subclass without.
Honestly, I'm fine with it not, because otherworldly wings.
Oh yeah. Well, let's look at Favorite of the Gods first. It's so great. You can, if you fail a saving throw or miss with an attack roll, you can roll a 2d4 and add it to the total. That's just helpful. You can use it once for short rest or long rest. Not overpowered, but it's...
I wish that you could use sorcery points to do it again.
You should be able to. Yeah, that's a good point. That'd be cool. Yeah. I don't think it'd be overpowered, too. It's just...
No, if you can use sorcery points to do it again, it's not overpowered. If it was tied to your charisma or your proficiency, then it would be. But if you have to, like, spell something to do it again, I think that makes it a worthwhile.
Yeah.
Because then you can't, like, potentially twin and inflict wounds.
Powered healing is nice, just a bit of extra healing for your friends. They have to be within 5 feet of you, which is kind of unfortunate. You kind of have to be a frontline sorcerer, but...
No, sorcerer gets all the Misty Step, Vortex Warp, all that.
Yeah, that's true.
And, like, depending on your DM, with a sorcerer, you can make spells that are actions into bonus actions. Depending on your DM, if they allow you to cast more than one spell on a turn using that, then you could potentially Vortex Warp your friend to you and heal them.
Yeah.
Now, it depends on your DM. Personally, as a DM, I allow it because if they want to blow through all their spell slots right away, not have any longevity, that's fine by me. Because if I want to punish it, I'll just throw a second encounter. You know, like it's not that bad, depending on the spells that they're using. Now, if you're playing without that, where you can cast a leveled spell and a cantrip, still useful because you can use Healing Word as a sorcerer. So you can run up next to someone, use Healing Word, or if you're good, you get Cure Wound. You know what? It's useful. It's a useful ability.
Yeah.
Not the best.
No, but it's not negative in any way. It's good. I think it's just helpful. So, and the other ones are great. Otherworldly wings, just being able to turn wings on and off.
I love that they're different depending on which affinity you have.
Yeah,
and I like the different ones. I like that it's evil wings for good or law, bad for evil or chaos, and I love that it's dragonfly wings for neutrality.
Yeah,
that's just cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
different, and
Yeah.
they really kind of go into that theme of like, yeah, you're a divine soul, but that doesn't mean you have to be good. You can be the son or daughter or descendant of an evil god. Yeah,
Or
exactly.
neutral.
Then
You can be Switzerland.
unearthly recovery
Saying neutrals.
is pretty great. Yes, Switzerland. Unearthly recovery is pretty great as well, just being able to heal half your hit points when you're below half. That's a pretty sizable heal. It is 18th level, but
You gotta remember that it's sorcerer,
yeah,
so you don't have a lot of hit points.
yeah, that's true.
Still, amazing ability.
Yep.
Can come in super clutch, but like, it's not like paladin or a barbarian using it. You know, you're probably getting at most 70 hit points.
Yeah.
At most, like up to 70. Because sorcerer's one of the two classes that your hit dice is a d6, which can be painful.
Yeah. The Divine Soul overall is a really great class. I also like the roleplay aspect of it too, because it's like, I've played a Divine Soul Sorcerer before. It was a very short campaign. We didn't play very long, but I wanted to play it as like, he doesn't know that he's like a descendant of a god or anything like that. He doesn't know where his magic comes from, and that can be, a storyline, and it could be any god.
I love sorcerers because of what you're saying right now.
Yeah, roleplay and like where they get their
magic. You get your magic from your blood. You get your magic from your lineage, and that just makes for easy storytelling. And easy storytelling makes for better stories most of the time. Because when it's easier to write something, you'll often make something better.
Yeah. Divine Soul is an easy A for both of us. What happens when you, when a human or a person and a dragon, how does that even work mechanically? Let me restart.
You ever see Shrek?
What?
You ever see Shrek? Donkey and Dragon.
You mean Donkey and Dragon? Yeah, you put a donkey and a dragon. Yeah.
Put a donkey and a dragon together, you get a Draconic Bloodline sorcerer.
There we go. That's how you make that. Draconic Bloodline. What do you think about it, Philip? Let's move away from that.
C.
Yeah, I put it as a C. It's fine.
I still like it. It's fun. It's cool. I'd be down to play it, but like I'm not gonna pick it over any of the others.
No.
Just because I don't know. I'm just a little dragoned out.
I just don't want things as a sorcerer that are like buffing my health and my armor class. Like, it's helpful, but I know what I'm doing when I'm a sorcerer. Like, I want to be a high level spellcaster. I want to be scared of a melee guy coming towards me, and I'd rather have it enhance my abilities so I can get away or mess them up.
I get what you're saying. I do like, getting the scales is cool. The Draconic Resilience. It's pretty cool. And I like the aesthetic of it in my head, of just having scales on my body, and it gives me a little bit of armor class. It's like having a permanent mage armor turned on.
It's nice. It's nice thematically too.
It just it's kind of boring. Draconic Resilience, you get your passive AC, and then you also get half of the tough feat.
Yeah, it's just not that interesting.
It's fine. It's useful. It's just fine. Also, you get to pick your dragon color, and you get different damage types based off it.
Yeah, elemental affinity is basically that. Like, you deal damage. Cast a spell that deals damage of the type associated with Draconic ancestry. You can deal extra damage. It is a little bit limiting if you're not choosing fire or ice. I don't know.
It's not, though.
What?
Because as a sorcerer, you can change the element of your spells.
Yeah, that's true.
you can make a lightning ball instead of a fireball. You can make an acid ball. Make a cold ball.
Yeah, you made that better. Sure.
Yeah. It costs sorcery points to do it, but I mean, when you're casting a fire, you're not flinging fireballs out anyway.
Yeah.
And then you get to increase the damage. And then if you were to take a feat like Elemental Adept, Fire, or Lightning, or Cold, and suddenly you can't roll ones, and you overcome resistance, like, this is a really good subclass for specifically going into a damage type.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and it's very thematically too. Like, you're fitting into your ancestral heritage, like in fire or poison, and a want. And as you mentioned, Sorcerer offers the tools to be able to do that, which is unique to Sorcerer, of course. And then it builds on that even more with dragon wings, like, you know, the Draconic ancestry. Of course, you'll be able to sprout wings and have a flying speed. And you get the classic Draconic presence that most high-level dragons get, although I don't think it's worth it as an 18th level feature.
And with the wings of Draconic Bloodline and Divine Soul, unlike most subclasses that give you wings, this one is until you dismiss it.
Yeah.
And Divine Soul, it's until you dismiss it. Most subclasses that give you flying speed, it's for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
This, you just have wings now, and you can put them away if you need to. That shouldn't be understated how good that is.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having flying speed in general and just having it without any limit is really great. So Draconic Bloodline is just, you know, it's one of the classic Sorcerer subclasses that came in the player's handbook. And for coming from the player's handbook, like, there's some subclasses that came from that book that are really not great. I think they've done a decent job with the player handbook ones for Sorcerer, starting with Draconic. Put it at C. You put it at C, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Put it there. Final thoughts about dragons? Dragoned out?
I like them. I would have fun playing it. It's just, I'd rather play every other subclass.
Yeah.
But I'd still be down to play it.
Absolutely.
I love Shadow Sorcerer.
I don't think I like it as much as you do. I put it in C with Draconic Bloodline.
I have it in A.
Okay. Fair enough.
I like that it brings up a role play thing right at the start of a quirk that you have, like being always icy to the touch. While you're asleep, you don't appear to breathe, even though you do. It just doesn't look like you do. Or your heart beats once per minute, and sometimes it even surprises you. Or you blinked once last week. You know, like, I just like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I wish they added more like this.
Yeah, I like Eyes of the Dark. Very, 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 very useful. Giving dark vision up to a range of 120 feet, great. And being able to cast darkness spell without a spell slot. And if you cast it using your sorcery point instead of a spell slot, you can see through it.
Mm-hmm. It's really good.
That is so strong.
Yeah. Not even...
Strength of the Grave?
Yeah.
Very useful. Just stops you from dying, maybe. Useful.
Mm-hmm.
Hound of Ill Omen, I really like. I really like the role play for it. I like that it imposes disadvantage on spell saves against you if it's adjacent to its target.
Yeah, that's a nice bit of scalability,
that is really cool.
And usefulness and later down the road, because none of the stats scale with Direwolf, right? It stays with the Direwolf stats.
Yeah, it doesn't get stronger, but it's already good because your spells are leveling and it's imposing disadvantage. So it scales by making your spells stronger against people instead of scaling by itself being stronger. It
Yeah.
only costs 3 sorcery points to summon it, and then it also takes hits and it can attack. So it is a good companion, which isn't something you can often say in this game.
Yep, that's definitely true. Shadow Walk is really cool as well. I actually
Yeah.
used this ability. Remember when we played that kind of nightmare one with the mine, and there were like these weird Minox, I think they were called. They had Shadow Walk where they could basically just kind of like they knew where darkness was around them, and they can just teleport
Hmm.
darkness. And it's such a cool ability to use as a DM on the players, and it would probably be just as cool to have as a player.
Oh yeah, free teleportation, super useful.
Yeah.
It's also when you're in dim light or darkness, you can teleport to other dim light or darkness. It's really easy to make it so there's dim light or darkness over you.
Yep.
All you need is a shadow. Do you know how easy it is to make a shadow unless you're in the sunlight?
Yeah, it's so thematically cool, just kind of stepping into the darkness and disappearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to play a shadow magic Gloomstalker.
Yeah, that would be a lot. Jeez, you're
It'd be
right.
really fun.
Don't give me any ideas, man.
just- Goes together so well. Oh man, I got multi-classes out the wazoo.
Oh yeah. The
Umbral
Umbral,
form,
yeah, is great.
I
as
love
well.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. Get resistance to all damage except force and radiant, which is cool. Like you're just resistant to everything unless it's God. And you can move through other creatures and objects as if they're difficult terrain. Take 5
Yeah.
force damage if you're inside them, but like you become a shadow.
Yeah, it's so
That's
thematically
so
cool.
Cool. I think that's
Mechanically cool.
probably my favorite of the 18th level abilities on the sorcerer page.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It's just cool. Everything, like, sure, it's like the edgy one, but they did edgy right.
Yeah, I can agree all mechanically that they did it, all the mechanics correct, they work well. Just not the type of sorcerer that I would want to play as. I'd much rather play probably a warlock. I wanted to be a little bit edgier, but
Yeah.
still
Well,
a
I'm
really
playing-
good subclass.
I'm playing shadow magic combined with a warlock right now.
Oh yeah,
It's-
I recognize it.
It goes well together.
Yeah. So you put it as an A, I put it as a C. Let's split the difference. Put it as
Okay.
B. Okay. So this is one of your first subclasses or characters, right, Philip? Storm Sorcery?
One of the earlier ones. It
Hmm.
is still the one I've played most
Okay.
because I played it for 2.5 years.
Yeah, you still love it?
Oh, it's not a good subclass.
Oh, really? I actually put it as an A. I liked it.
I like it too, but mechanically wise, it is very lackluster compared to the other subclasses for sorcerer.
Hmm. Oh, I liked it.
I
Yeah, more,
I-
I guess.
I love the theme. I love storm stuff. I absolutely love the theme. It needs an expanded spell list.
Yeah, it does. It was Player's
Absolutely
Handbook.
needs an expanded spell list because there are not very many thunder and lightning spells.
Yeah, well, you can
And-
change.
Personally, I think also like ice also goes well with storm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's go into some of the
Yeah.
mechanics. Like Tempestus magic allows you to fly a little bit without provoking opportunity attacks. I really like that. It is the only first level thing you get, other than Wind Speaker, of course, but that just allows you can
You can talk to birds.
Yeah, you can talk to birds. But I like Tempestus magic a lot, as well as Heart of the Storm, not
Storm?
Swarm. Yeah, Storm.
Yeah, resistance to lightning and thunder damage, useful. And when you cast lightning or thunder spells of a leveled spell,
Yep.
and also shoot lightning or thunder out of your body and hurt someone within 10 feet of you. Useful. Damage though,
No,
it's
yeah,
like when you get this at 6th level, it's free.
I know. It needs to be more damage. Like, I think it actually should be equal to your sorcerer level, because
I agree.
this sounds awesome. Like, you're just
Yeah. Well, and you
thunder
have to
itself.
use spell slots to use it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not the only thing you get at 6th level. The other thing is Storm Guide, which allows you to subtly control
Mhm.
the weather around you. Only for
Uh,
radius sphere centered on you, you can affect the rain to stop falling or start. And then if it's windy, you can change the direction of the wind.
yeah,
It's
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 cool.
neat. It's neat. It can come up if there's like a fog cloud or a stinking cloud or something. You can get rid of it. But like, it's more just like a passive roleplay ability.
Yeah,
And Heart of the Storm, the resistance is nice, but the damage is lackluster.
yeah. If it was more, this would be a lot better. Storm's Fury is also very nice thematically. Use a reaction to deal lightning damage to anyone that attacks you. It's
And the
equal to your
damage
sorcerer
equals your
level.
sorcerer level.
So,
So 14 damage at level 14, not
yeah,
much. And at
that's
this
not
point, Heart of the
much.
Storm is doing 7 damage, you know?
Yeah, it is nice that you can
Yeah.
push people away by 20 feet. That's more
The
than
push-
usual, but
Push is the part that matters, not the damage.
oh yeah,
At 14th
that's
level, 14 damage, not a big deal. Getting pushed away so that they can't hit you with the second attack, because most things will have multi-tech at this point.
yeah,
That's the part that matters.
yeah. Wind Soul is nice to get finally like immunity to lightning and thunder. I think the flying speed comes a little late at 18th level, especially considering
agree.
some of the other subclasses. But I like the idea of it. I just think it should have been incorporated sooner and maybe a new 18th level.
Well, the reason it's at 18th level, because you get a flying speed of 60 feet or 30 feet, and you give your friends flying speed.
Yeah,
That's
is
really strong.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and like this is everything to do with the subclass. I love the theme, absolutely love it, but every single part of it is lackluster.
So what did you put it as at the end? In the end,
I had it in C. You know, like,
okay.
I love it. I honestly think I'm gonna make a Tempest Sorcerer so that it's different than Storm Sorcery.
Yeah, makes sense.
That is just better.
Yeah.
Because it's so just disappointing playing a Storm Sorcerer because the abilities are all just like, oh yeah, that's neat. You know?
Yeah.
And you could make a really overpowered Storm Sorcerer. You saw that recently.
Yeah.
But it wasn't strong because of Storm Sorcery. It was strong because of the Tempest Cleric.
So with you putting it as a C and me a difference, B?
I would argue that it's worse than Shadow and Aberrant Mind.
Probably play it over Draconic Bloodline.
I would too. Like, here's my problem with Storm Sorcerer. I've played it many times, and I had a character that I played for years as a Storm Sorcerer, and I loved every minute of it. But the abilities are disappointing. I like it because I like the theme of it, but it needs to be better. Like, it's just disappointing. It's sort of like how Samurai is a really cool idea for a fighter. The abilities are boring.
Yeah,
I want
that's
to play a Samurai
absolutely.
because Samurai are cool. I want to play a Storm Sorcerer because Storm Magic is cool. The abilities are boring.
They just didn't balance it properly. And I think I'd rather use judgment here because I haven't played this in game, and I feel like in game the mechanics are gonna feel a lot worse than what I'm looking at as them right now. Like, they seem thematically really cool and honestly kind of mechanically cool, but they just don't put enough of like an oomph in there to matter and like to feel like you're powerful.
Everything in it, it looks cool on paper, but in practice, what does it do? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
when you cast a spell, you can fly 10 feet without provoking opportunity attacks. That's great. However, if someone's within range to do opportunity attacks on you, you messed up.
Yeah.
And
So,
likely you're going to teleport out of there anyway. It's useful to have this instead. But personally, I would rather teleport 30 or 60 feet away than fly 10.
yeah, that's absolutely fair. So I think with Storm Sorcerer, we can put it probably above Draconic Bloodline, but keep it in C. Wild Magic is honestly such a good idea for a Sorcerer subclass, but I don't like it in practice, mostly due to the chance of it triggering, and I don't think it improves much in later levels, so I actually had this as my only D Sorcerer subclass. What did you put it as?
I had it in S because
Okay.
anytime I've ever played it or had someone play it, I have them use it more often.
Yeah, I agree. With that small change, makes it so
I
much
have
better.
them like just using it all the time, pretty much. So once per turn, the DM can have you roll a d20 immediately after you cast a spell, first level or higher. If you roll a 1, then you roll on the magic surge table. I just have it that anytime they roll a 1, if they're dealing with magic, they roll on the surge table. It's not you roll another d20 after. It's just if you roll, if it's a cantrip, if it's a spell, whatever. If you get a 1, you're rolling on the wild magic surge table.
Yeah, that definitely helps balance it. I definitely took it as face value in it.
Oh yeah, I do agree that it's. I honestly I think it's silly. It's like once per turn, they have you roll a d20 immediately after you cast sorcerer spell first level or higher.
Yeah.
It's like, or just once per turn if you cast a sorcerer spell first level or higher. If you roll a 1, why do you have to? Why is the second d20 coming out?
Yeah. And
You
like,
know, it should just be all the time, personally, because that also makes it really fun for them. Like, you cast a utility spell outside of combat and you fireball yourself. That's funny. That's really
yeah.
funny.
And
Or like,
that's the essence of wild magic right there too.
you go to cast Featherfall on your friend that's falling and you accidentally start levitating yourself. That's so stupid. I love it.
Yeah.
Like, that's why this is so high for me, because it's fun and silly, and when you're playing in a game that is full of people that are there to have fun and silly and not like take it too seriously, this is just such a fun class.
Yeah, but I just wanted to trigger more. Let's look into some of the other features of it as well, because it does have other, features
Yeah,
that
but
add
they
on
don't
to
matter.
it.
Let's be honest.
I know they don't matter, but we need to talk about them, don't we?
I don't
Honestly,
think we do. I
no.
don't think we do. Like, the
Honestly,
thing that matters in wild magic is the wild magic surge table. If you're looking at the other stuff, that's not why you're coming to this subclass at all.
Yeah,
Other
you're right.
subclasses, you're coming to it for like what it has to offer. This is what you're coming to this subclass for. If you don't like the wild magic surge, you're never going to play this. And if you like it, you will. That's it.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. So you actually put this as an S, then?
Yeah, because I love the chaos of it, but I also had it as an S because I've never once played it ruled as written.
Okay.
I've only ever played it where if you roll a 1 when you're dealing with magic, you roll on the wild magic surge. You never just have the DM say, okay, roll the d20. You just do it every time. And it just adds that chaos to it, because that means every time you cast a spell, 5% chance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think
that's fun.
I think the ranking, correctly reflects the class as well, just all over the place sometimes, and all over the place and kind of how effective it can be too. You can be super unlucky and this could be the most boring subclass you could ever have, or it could be triggering all the time and you can be having the time of your life. Suddenly you have to speak loudly and yell for the next minute because you rolled really bad. You rolled that on the wild surge table, so yeah.
What is your favorite thing on the wild magic surge table?
My favorite thing, I haven't looked into this enough, to be honest.
I don't find one you like.
I like you grow a long beard made of feathers that remains until you sneeze, at which point
Yeah,
the feathers explode out from
It's
your
really
face. Yeah,
I love it.
that's great. So I think wild magic averages out at, you know, as probability does in the average at B. And that's the last one. You got any other thoughts about wild magic?
About wild magic, I like it. I like the chaos of it.
Yeah.
It's fun. I have incorporated the wild magic surge table into other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it.
There's the wild magic barbarian, I think should use this table because their table has like 8 options.
Yeah.
Boring. Give me this.
Yeah,
It'd be really funny if a friggin' barbarian casts a fireball centered on himself. That's amazing. That's so stupid.
It also only happens when he enters his rage too. So yeah.
Oh man, could you imagine if the barbarian entered his rage, and for the next minute he can see invisible creatures? So like, oh, there's a bunch of invisible enemies. I'm so mad I could see you. Like, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, it's got so much potential to it, and I'd love to see more.
Rage, and then suddenly there's grease and you slip.
Yeah, I'd love to see a spell also that incorporates wild magic. Just has a lot of randomness to it, just like this. So you'd have to roll like a D100 to actually see the effect of the spell. That would also be cool.
I get people to roll D100 often.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like random tables. So like when there's loot, I'll often say to whoever's looking, roll a D100 to actually find out what loot it is, so that I don't have to do it ahead of time, and B, then there's a little bit of that illusion of control. Party, when you roll yourself and you get bad loot, it's like, oh dang, I could have rolled better. But if you roll really well, you get really good loot, then it feels really hype. And this is that kind of thing, you know, like you rolled a 1, it's a nat 1 on your spell. Dang. Alright, let's roll a D100. The next minute I must shout. That's hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an absolutely kind of amazing subclass. Can be good, can be bad. I feel like you thought I was gonna ask what you thought of sorcerers in general. I know you absolutely love them, and
I love sorcerers. I wish they got more spells. Like their spell list was bigger.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Sorcerer spell list is essentially the wizard spell list with half the utility and half the support spells cut out, but keep the damage.
Yeah, and I guess you do have the meta magic on top of all of these subclasses, which is super helpful. Absolutely.
I love meta magic. Meta magic is probably my favorite ability in the game.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. And I'll play a sorcerer eventually, as I'm going through the high spellcasters.
Sorcerer pairs well with a lot of other classes because it is charisma-based spellcasting. So it goes well with Bard, goes well with Warlock, goes well with Paladin.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those ones that it's a spellcaster that is useful out of a fight, even though you don't have good spells out of the fight, because you're good at charisma.
Yeah. And charisma is like honestly one of the best ability force too. Just having
charisma, wisdom, and dex are the 3 most useful.
Yeah, absolutely. But with that, we're gonna end the video here. We really appreciate you guys watching all this time through all the subclass videos. Make sure to check them out if you haven't seen the other ones before. We're gonna make more videos, of course. We're in this for the long run. I don't know what we're gonna do next, but make sure to like and subscribe, hit the bell to see what we think of next, and thanks for watching.
Bye.